This series was made possible thanks to the generosity of these patrons and from the likes and watch time of viewers like you. Thank you for your support.
Read the disclaimers, and please use common sense.
Okay, not much of a prelude for this episode. We're basically going over the second half of my top figures of 2022. So, salutations, denizens of the internet. I'm Firebite27, and let's commence our analysis of the top 23 Transformers of 2022. Why 23? Because I'm going one step beyond! Coming in at number 23, we have Reveal the Shield Strafe. The original Revenge of the Fallen Mindwipe figure has always been a mold grail of mine, mostly because it just looks really cool. And a mold grail, for those unaware, is basically a mold that I just want to pick up in some capacity over the years. It doesn't matter which version I get, just as long as I get a version. And when I saw that Crush Collectibles had this thing for relatively cheap, I just knew I had to snap it up. This figure is really fun. Honestly, it hasn't aged terribly compared to some of its contemporaries. And the Mech Alive here at the wings is really fun, as are the pop-out blades at the hands. I can say that it was well worth checking out. Swooping into 22 on the 2022 list, we have Transformers Beast Wars Transmetal 2 Prowl. Now, this is only one of two Transmetal 2 figures that I currently own, the other one in question being a modern update that's really quite good. But this one has some very special memories attached to it, partially because this was a gift that I got from my friend Dale from the Optimus Primecast for my summer internship. I worked at the church that we both attend over the summer, and this was his gift to me, and I am very grateful for that. Not to mention, it's also really good. It's got really good articulation for a Transmetal 2 figure, and also, it's so cool to look at, and I really love owls. They're one of my favorite animals after, like, bats and sharks. Special delivery! Hey! Sharing a spot at number
21,
we have Titan's Return Alpha Trion and Sentinel Prime. They're both here for ostensibly the same reason. I missed out on Titan's Return, and these are both really tall, really nice Voyagers that look really awesome, especially Alpha Trion, and he in particular has some untapped potential as Vector Prime as I understand it. Not to mention that they both turn into some really awesome vehicles. This one turns into a sci-fi shuttle and a train, while this one just turns into a sci-fi spaceship and a fantasy lion. I don't know, I love it. It's the most Super Sentai thing imaginable, and it just gets me right here. At number 20, we have Earthrise Netflix Optimus Prime. Now, this figure has appeared before on one of my best of lists. Specifically, the dead version appeared on my best of 2020 list. However, in the years since that figure's release, I've come to realize that it's just not for me. Mostly because the plastic feels, for lack of a less appropriate term, lifeless. Especially on the trailer and the main robot. Nothing there feels good. Maya, stop that!
Party pooper.
Unlike Earthrise Netflix Optimus Prime, well, except for these piss masters, but what else is new there? This figure is also fed into my theory about Earthrise being intended as a toy accuracy first line rather than a cartoon accuracy first line, but that's a subject I need to cover in another video. What really swayed it over the edge is that I got this for free as a gift from one of my friends, Master Far, who I suggest you check out. And I will be shouting out his name again later in the list. Takara, Legend, Slipstream. As you all likely know, I am a huge fan of Transformers Animated. Bawled my eyes out when I heard about Derek J. Wyatt's passing. So when I found out that this figure was at Crush Collectibles inbox, I went down there and bought it immediately. I mean, it was probably one of the most irresponsible purchases I've ever made in my life, coming in at a deluxe that was $76 in box, but given the rarity, I think that was a fair trade-off. Besides, while this thing does have its issues, it has had a weird effect on me, where the more and more I play with it and futz around with it, the more and more fond I get, despite its issues with, like, the high heels that prevent any stability. Coming in at number 18, we have Buzzworthy Terrorsaur. This is a figure that I know is a bit controversial, especially amongst fans of the Airazor mold. Some people think that the Airazor mold is mid, some think that this is a great retool, some people think that this is a bad retool, like Dr. Lockdown, who also thinks that the original Airazor mold is amazing. However, I've always been in the categories that kind of contradict what Doc likes when it comes to this mold. I like this one a lot better, probably because I just feel it has more personality to it. I could be bothered to do several segments of stop motion for my review of this figure. That review is also really special to me because it just really flowed together for me. It was kind of a fluke. It just happened in the course of like a month. It was all very fun to edit and very fun to make. It was quite extensive too, and honestly, those memories alone give it a spot on this list. I'd also like to briefly give a shout out to two other slight retools of figures I got in the previous year that I felt deserved a shout. Specifically, Studio Series 86 Junk Heap, which is a retool of Rekgar, which I liked, and I also like this, but not as much because of the retooling in question, and also Kingdom Grimlock, because I failed to give Dinobot a spot on the list last year, and that didn't feel right. So these three could collectively be said to share the spot 18. Okay, coming in at number 17, we have another reckless purchase of mine that I don't regret, MP Reboost. Now, I got this during a little thing at Crush Collectibles called FodderCon, where you basically bring in some cash and buy off some really cheap, inexpensive figures. I did none of that. I forgot that I don't have any cash on me when I game, so I just wasn't prepared for it. I do have some proof that I went because of this little coupon that the owner gave to everyone who attended. Also, during that time, I bought MP Reboost because I just wanted it. It was very expensive, but I don't regret it for a second. But I will say, I am concerned by people who have sold off the MP in favor of the Legacy version, because that thing is mid as hell, and I can't see why someone would sell off this in favor of that. However, selling that off in favor of this, on the other hand...
Why are you running? Why are you running?
At number 16, we have Legacy Jhiaxus, a figure which, honestly, I wasn't expecting to be in the running because, quite frankly, look at it! It's hideous! But that hideousness hides the fun within, because not only is he great fun to pose and transform, though I will say his alternate mode feels as though it is taunting me to make dick jokes. This figure also has a great personality just from the head alone, which is a perk that I look for in every figure but seldom find. It is truly remarkable that this is the face that gets the sort of sulky frown that gives a character way more personality than 90% of Transformers head sculpts do these days. And I am here for that. The next figure on our list is Velocitron Speedia 500 Override, because quite frankly, I freaking needed this from Hasbro. I am sick and tired of G1, as I stated in this figure's review. So honestly, getting this figure felt like a very good sign. I will admit that she's not the best, but she does give me a lot of hope for the future. And that hope is for the design team to do more than just G1 figures all the time. And if that animated Prowl is as good as it's shaping up to be, then I have every confidence that we're in good hands. So this one's to you, Override. In keeping with my theme of making up for past mistakes, we have Studio Series Bumblebee Optimus Prime, a figure that I am very, very happy to own. Mostly because I missed out on it back when it first released in 2019, and the reason I skipped out on it was because Studio Series Ironhide was there, and I could just grab that instead, and I really shouldn't have grabbed that. I didn't like it eventually. I sold it off. I'm so mad at myself because I could have had this figure the whole time! It's so much better, and it's really fun. Fun to transform, fun to pose, and while it does have some issues, they aren't nearly as degrading as Ironhides are. So once again, a big thanks to, you guessed it, Crush Collectibles for giving me this figure, and I am very happy about that. For our next entry, we have...
Really? More figures from 52 Toys. Are you trying to verbally suck there?
Oh, shut up, Maya. 52 Toys Beast Box Ricochet. I am genuinely in love with this little kangaroo. It's just so cute. From its boxing gloves to its visor to even the little joey that it has in its pouch. Oh my god, just look at that. It's so cute. But this figure is just so much fun. Not to transform, mind you. The transformation can be a bit of a headache, but I just love this thing so much. And also, it's so expressive with these little ears. It's articulated and, oh, it just had so much personality, and I love that. If there were more people watching this channel on a consistent basis, I can definitely see this choice pissing some of them off, but screw them. I really liked Legacy Blitzwing. Sure, it's got its problems, like a cock on the tank mode and also jet kibble, but at the same time, I really do think that those issues have been blown out of proportion by the fandom. Yeah, they are there, but I don't think they're large problems. Seriously, this is really fun. And being fun is the point of a toy. It's fun to convert between all three modes, and also the robot mode looks good. And the other modes don't look that shabby, to me at least. Ah, the Wreck and Rule collection. You had such great potential, yet you squandered so much of it. From what I've heard, there's been at least one friend who's acquired one of the sets from Wreck and Rule and absolutely hated the end product and had to return it or sell it. And I feel really bad for them, because the only one I got actually turned out really good. This figure is really fun, and while I was originally rooting against it because I wanted Top Spin instead of Twintwist, it's actually shut me up and made me realize that I was totally wrong wrong about this. This figure is awesome, and I'm low-key hoping that they do make a Diaclone Universe topspin at some point, but for now, I'm more than satisfied. In many ways, 2022 has been the year of the fembot, because, quite frankly, all the female Transformers that have come out this year have been, at the very least, passable, which is really good compared to previous years where some of them have been downright insufferable. However, out of all of them, I really have to give the win to Alita 1, because she turns into a very non-traditional alternate mode for a fembot. Most of the time they're very small and slender vehicle modes, but this one turns into like a significantly car, and that's really cool. I should also briefly mention that Transformers Studio Series Bumblebee RC is a lot more fun to transform. However, I don't like the vehicle mode on this one. Honestly, I think it's a really bad vehicle mode. So, overall, I'm gonna give the win to this one. Next is a toy that I picked because I have an attachment to the character, RID 2015 Fixit. I love Fixit so much in the show, even though I do know that a lot of fans found him annoying because of his little stuttering quirk. I found it very relatable, especially since, as someone with ADHD, it feels as though my mouth is constantly 5 seconds ahead of my brain formulating the sentence. So, honestly, I love that I got him. It almost made it worth the car accident I got into on the way back from the collector's store. We now find ourselves winding down to the final few entries on the list, and we start out with Universe Drop Shot. This is a figure that I mainly wanted because of Thew's meme video about the toy back in the day, where he parodied an old fan fiction with terrible grammar, and as someone who used to write fan fiction, I found it very relatable and funny, so I was more than happy to pick this up, but on its own, it's very fun. It's got a lot of cool gimmicks, from the power cannon to the missile launchers to the gun, and it's all fun, and I really like it. So, thank you, Thew, for making me want this amazing figure.
And then Hound was a zombie.
Next on the list, we have the canceled Hascon Spectro Spyglass and Viewfinder. I can't remember which is which, so I'm just holding them up all at once. This is a really fun set. The vintage camera mode is cool, and I really like it, and it's pretty. The individual robots have a lot more personality than the original Refraktor colors, and honestly, I just love that it came with a little Kremzik. Maybe I'll make like a little candy mold out of this. That would be really cute. The next figure on the list is a little special to me because it was the first gift that I ever received from my friend of the channel, Dr. Lockdown. That is Premium Finish Optimus Prime, and premium is the operative word because holy crap, this feels so much better than the original Siege Optimus. And the original Siege Optimus isn't even a figure that I hated. This just feels so much better. Sure, it's based off of the literal worst incarnation of Optimus Prime barring the movies, but I just think this is so cool. So thank you, Doc, so much for this. And this is just really nice. I have realized I've put a lot of Optimi on here. Fortunately, that'll change with the last few figures of the list. So let's get on to those.
Also, Bite from the Future here. Doc's going through a bit of a rough patch right now, so if you could go and support him, that would be much appreciated.
Hailing announcing the arrival of the top 5, its Legacy Motormaster. Now, as you may know, I wasn't very enthusiastic about Dragstrip, who I received first, but I wasn't gonna give up on the set until I got Motormaster. Because, quite frankly, the Combiner's main body is what it all hinges on.
Quite literally, as a matter of fact.
And buddy, this figure is awesome. From the trailer that turns into an alright base mode, to the main robot that just blew me away at every turn, I am in love with it, and I want to thank Holy Cross Church for providing me with this figure as thanks for my summer internship. So, honestly, it's not lost on me how generous you all are, and I genuinely want to thank you for all of that. Coming in at 4th place, we have my very first Iron Factory figure, Mini One-Man Army Mirror, a gift from my younger brother. This figure is just cute. Again, I'm not sure how else I can describe it. It's very adorable. It's got amazing articulation too despite its size, and while I'm not the biggest fan of how fiddly it can be, it's still a lot of fun, and really just I'm impressed by how many weapons it comes with. Also, blue and purple is just very pretty. '22's bronze medalist is 52 Toys Firmhand, a figure that taught me that even if a figure is transformed several dozen times, it can still be a good brain teaser. This figure is just really cool. The wolf mode is amazing, as is the articulation and the colors and everything. Look, if you want me to explain why I love this thing so much, go and watch my review of it. That's all I'm gonna say. So while I am ultimately glad that I got to check out more of the Beastbox line and expand my horizons from the 4 I had to now 8, I think this is enough for the time being.
Oh no!
For our penultimate entry, it really couldn't be anyone other than Star Saber. As far as toys go, there's nothing more significant than having been part of a crowdfunding campaign and seeing this legendary Japanese Autobot commander materialized as a physical object. So I will admit, it's not totally perfect. There are paint blemishes everywhere, and there's like no backwards movement of the legs, which is a big problem since it's so dynamic that I want to pose it with its legs all the way back so it can be running. But beyond those issues, this is just a really nice toy, and I am pathetically grateful to Master Far for giving me the money to buy it. Not to mention that with sword in hand, he looks positively amazing! For my number 1 pick of the best figures of 2022, I have chosen Velocitron Cosmos. Yes, seriously, I chose him. Cosmos may not be important to you, but if it weren't for Cosmos, I'd never be a collector of Transformers. I'll briefly rewind. The year is 2017, and as we're getting ready for Christmas, I see Titans Return Cosmos in the package in Target. And I think to myself, whoa, that's what Transformers can turn into? That cheesy stuff is right up my alley. But I don't buy it because it's Christmas. I've got enough stuff on my wish list. But soon after, I buy Cosmos, and this just feels like the 5 years on upgrade from that figure. It's been nearly 5 years since I started collecting Transformers and reviewing them on YouTube, and this is a summation of everything that I've done over those 5 years. All the growth that I and the Transformers line have experienced, and all that is yet to come. This is what I've been waiting for ever since then. A figure that lives up to the standards of the modern era, but still captures the doofy charm of my favorite character. So ultimately, there's no one more deserving of the number 1 spot on this list, on this channel, then Cosmos. And if you disagree, you can call the cops. Well, you can try, but I think they're gonna arrest you for being crazy. But that ends the best of 2022. I'd like to thank you all for joining me on this journey. And that being said, this is Firebite27, over and out.